Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Admin, you already know. And right now I want to discuss a couple of things. I actually haven't done this in a while, so I thought this would be like a throwback to my old settings. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, this video will be about Super Metroid and a new technique that I've developed. Well, actually, I shouldn't really say it's new because I've had it for years now. I've been using it for years. Just it's like now I've held it, and now I really want to discuss it because I think that this technique could be used like practically in some sort of way. But my imagination is limited, so I really can't think of anything that I would really use this for. But at the same time, even if it's not used practically, it's still a really fun technique. And I thought I'd bring it to light here once and for all. I mean, I don't see anyone doing this technique. I've never seen anyone do this technique other than myself in my whole history of playing Super Metroid and watching Super Metroid. So if anybody else has done this trick, you know, I mean, I really shouldn't be apologizing at all. I mean, it's my trick. But if anyone else has done this trick, please let me know. Or if someone has already taken credit for this, you let me know. Because as of now, I'm gonna take credit for this little technique. It's not nothing game breaking or nothing, but it is my shit, you know. And I've discovered it. And what it is well, there are three things that I want to discuss. First of all, during the course of this video or tutorial, I'll have an assortment of visual aids ready so that you can use it as a guide, or if not, just find it as a clarifying means to understand the point that I'm trying to convey. This video will have some examples of how to do the Mach Ball, how to do the speed Mach Ball, how to do enemy spiking, enemy boost, jump spiking, and some things you can do with the speed booster. I'll show you what the speed booster is as well as the other things as well. Hopefully this will help clarify some things for you. There's a technique called the Mach Ball. There's another technique called spike jumping or enemy boosting. You know, you can use one or the other. It's the same effect, really. And the third one is the speed booster. But I mean, this is not really much of a skill as it is an item that you get. So let's go talk about them in order, right? So Mach Ball. Mach Ball, in a nutshell, it's a pretty simple concept. It's all it is a glitch that allows you to maintain your speed while you're in ball form. So for example, let's say you're running to the left, right? You're Samus and you're running to the left. You don't have the speed booster yet, right? And you don't really you don't want to stop and crouch and then go under a hole or something. So what you do is you run to the left, right? Like, you can run to the right, it doesn't matter, it's all preference. But let's say that there's a hole on the left that you want to go in, but you don't want to stop. So you're gonna run, and then you're gonna jump in the air. It doesn't matter how high you jump, as long as you press a second time while you're in the air. So you're gonna jump, right? And then you press A while in the air, and you're gonna keep holding down. Like, the moment you jump, you're gonna keep holding the direction you're going in, which is left, and you're also gonna hold down in the air, and then you're gonna press A. And once you press A, that's like the initial commencement of the Mach Ball. So when you're holding down, make sure that before you hit the floor, you press down again. That way you turn into ball form as soon as you hit the floor. But because you press A, it keeps your momentum, and as long as you keep holding down and left, you press down again, right, when you hit the floor, but you're gonna keep holding left. That way you're moving, and you're in motion, and you're gonna keep going that same speed you were going initially. So, right, this is very practical because many speedrunners use this trick or tactic or technique in order to get faster times. And you know, it's a very interesting technique because it allows you to do many different other things. Well, another technique that's quite interesting is called the spike jump or the enemy boost, which is almost like the same concept with the whole A, except different, you know, a different effect. You know, all in all, we're going for the same goal, which is saving time. So that's what this does. When you run into a spike or an enemy, and if you press A with precise timing, Samus flies back in the direction that she's facing opposite to. So let's say you wanted to head to the right, and then you're headed right, but then Samus's back is facing left, and if you press A while you're spike jumping or enemy boosting, you're gonna head to the left. You're gonna fly back. So what speedrunners do is they usually turn around before they get hit. That way they jump in the direction they want to go in. And this is she flies quite a distance. So it's quite notable how far she flies. And this technique is also very practical and implemented in these speed runs and other such things. And then the last technique that I really want to discuss is well, it's not really a technique, but the last thing I want to talk about is the speed booster. So in Samus's quest to defeat and put an end to Mother Brain, she runs into this item called the speed booster, which allows her to run in incredible speeds, really high speeds, and gives her the ability to shine spark by running and turning into like a bluish kind of Samus. Like she has this blue force or aura around her. She can demolish enemies along her path, and if you press down at any point when she's glowing, you're able to glow in a different kind of color, and you're able to do a shine spark by jumping. You know, I'm not gonna get into details of shine spark because that's not what this whole tutorial is about. In any case, when you put these three techniques together, well, actually, we're not gonna get there yet. We put two techniques together, which is the Mach Ball and the Speed Booster. So, right when you're running at high speeds and you're in that blue aura, you can implement the Mach Ball strategy, and you're gonna be going at really high speeds. So, right, what happens when you go at that speed is that there's a bounce. I mean, I'm sure people who play Super Metroid have noticed this bounce when they go into, you know, ball form and they fall off like a cliff or something, or any sort of distance. There's a small amount, like there's a small bounce to the morph ball. Like when you're in morph ball, there's a small bounce when you fall off of some ledge or something like that. This is also notable when you have the spring ball. Okay, so when you're in Mach Ball form and when you do the speed Mach Ball, which is when you combine the speed booster and the Mach Ball, there's a bounce that allows you to get hit by enemies. So normally when you're running at that speed, you're invulnerable to anything as long as you know, keep running, or if you hit a wall, then you'll stop completely. You have zero speed. So in any case, when you're in that form, you're invulnerable, you're invincible. You cannot get hit. However, there are certain frames of Samus's bounce that when you do use the Mach Ball, speed Mach Ball trick, you're able to hit enemies while you're bouncing, and it's only in specific frames, and this will completely cut off your whole speed booster effect. The moment you do that certain bounce, you will not have that effect any longer. Now there are times when you could go off of a cliff and land safely without bouncing, though it'll be a small tiny bounce. It's not going to be the bounce. We're going to call it the bounce, okay? Because that is a very specific bounce that you're looking for in order to implement this technique into any sort of gameplay or anything. So in any case, this new technique that I developed combines all three of those. It combines enemy boosting, it combines the Mach Ball, and it combines the speed booster. So right, in order to perfect this technique, you have to perfect the bounce. The bounce is the trickiest part of this whole operation, but if you're able to master it, you'll be able to do this almost any given time. Now, the way you do this is when you bounce, you are able to get hit by an enemy, but at the same time, you're gonna keep that aura of the the speed Mach Ball. And when you get hit by an enemy, you're actually essentially what you're doing is you're enemy boosting. So you're going to be pressing A while you're moving, and that'll shoot you forward. And this technique, I decided to call it the Phantom Boost Ball because it has an illusionary effect. And it's like a phantom. Like if you played this game, you know that there's a boss called Phantoon, and he's very apparition-like. And so the whole Phantom Boost Ball is kind of like that. It has that sort of effect. So maybe you'll see by the visual examples what I mean. I mean, it's not exactly able to be captured on film as well as, you know, I would like it to. But if you try it out for yourself on your own television, you'll see the effect more than likely. You'll see it better in this video. So I implore you to try it for yourself if you want to see it in full detail. But however, what you're doing here is that you're enemy boosting while you're still in that Mach Ball form, but you have to be wary of the whole bounce effect and the frames that it takes for you to, you know, get off of that whole bluish color and for you to lose your speed is also something you have to keep in mind. And when you hit the enemy, you also have to time the A button precisely. That way you're able to boost. And then that's what this thing is all about. It's boost. So it's not a practical technique. It's not a technique that is useful in any way. Not really. I mean, I'm gonna be honest here. It's only a technique that I thought would be great amounts of fun, especially for someone who knows how to like hack, ROM hack. Um, like one of my personal requests would be somebody would make this same exact room, or I mean any room really, like a very large room where you can do a speed mock ball. That way you can implement these tactics, but you need to have hills in there. That way you could you can use the bounce, or you don't need that at all. You can use spring ball. However, spring ball isn't really. I mean, you don't need the spring ball for this technique, but it is easier if you have the spring ball. That way you can control your bounce. Okay, and another thing that I wanted to say is that, well, I chose this part of Criterias mainly because it's probably one of the easiest places to use this whole technique. I mean, because the hills are set up in a perfect, in a perfect angle, a perfect way, so you're able to implement these strategies quite nicely here. You can do this almost anywhere if you wanted to, as long as you know how to do it, and as long as you're aware of how to use the whole bounce technique. So, like I said, like I was saying, it would be nice to see like a ROM hack of a very large version of this exact room, and just like stretch for miles even, and with the same exact enemies, just prolong this stage without the doors. That way you can really see the true effects and the speed you can gather with this. I mean, it's crazy. I've done the math in my head, and you can boost for an insanely long period of time. And I just would like to see it done. I would like to try it out for myself. Wouldn't that be, great? To just boost as much as you wanted to. That'd be an amazing thing to see. But in any case, I'm not gonna let my dreams get the better of me. And hopefully, this tutorial has helped you guys to see Super Metro in a different way. Maybe somebody will find a way to implement these strategies into actual speedrunning or anything. I don't really see it that practical, but maybe somebody else can. And I guess that's sort of like the purpose of this video. Also, I also want to hear about your experiences if you decide to try this out for yourself, and whether or not this has been fun for you as it has been for me. It's quite a fun thing to do, and I greatly enjoy doing it, to be honest with you. And yeah, that concludes my tutorial of how to do the Phantom Boost Ball. If there are any questions, please leave me a response on the comment section below. And until next time, see y'all later.